What age do children born with sickle cell start having crisis? So this is a question I often get asked by new parents that have just found out their child has sickle cell and are either very anxious and worried about when to expect to have to manage them, or are wanting to be very prepared and have everything in plan and be able to predict when this is going to happen, when that's going to happen. And it always gives more or less the same answer, because the severity of sickle cell is completely variable depending on the individual. So you can't always prevent, crises. You can't always predict what's going to happen until it's happened, and until there's enough information that kind of gives you an idea of how severe the sickle cell is and how often the crises are happening. It's impossible to tell like straight away. So I think that this creates this situation where you're living in fear. You're having to deal with the threat of sickle cell popping up at some point. And I get that that's very scary, but the thing about sickle cell is that it is unpredictable and it can happen anytime. And in order to be able to like live and function well with sickle cell, there has to be an element of acceptance, and that acceptance of like uncertainty and unpredictability is something that will come with time. So if you're a parent and you're feeling really anxious right now because it's early on, you've just found out about your baby's diagnosis, just be reassured that you won't always feel like this, because you will identify the pattern of your child's sickle cell crisis and be able to plan around that and take precautions and avoid triggers. But also the intensity of your stress reaction will gradually settle down as you get used to the same experiences that you have to go through. The only thing you can think about is what you do have control over, and that's preventing exposure to triggers and making sure they're taking all the right medication and eating a healthy diet. But even with all that, they could still have crises. If you're going to be completely set on them never having a crisis, well, the chances of that happening are pretty low. So just focusing on doing your best with what you can control, and then accepting that sometimes the sickle cell crisis, you're not going to be able to control that. And that's okay. That's life. That's just the way it is. And it gets easier.